Hello, Sarah, and welcome to Nerdly Out Loud. And for those out there watching, this is Sarah Alexandra Marks. Now, Sarah is an actor, an actress, a little bit of a producer, a director, movies such as Kill Kane, starring Vinnie Jones, Tango One. I interviewed Sasha a little while back about Tango One, so this is a really cool, like sort of full circle moment. Host of short movies, and including your own directorial debut, Snowdrop, which we'll get into a little bit. Um, but right now we've got like three vastly different movies on the horizon. We've got Witch, which I believe came out a little while ago. You can catch that now. We've got Howard J. Ford's flick Escape, which we're going to be talking about in a little bit, and of course Bogeyville, which I believe had a little bit of a premiere not that long ago. So that's really cool as well. How are you today, Sarah?
I'm very well, thank you. I hope you are too.
You're a very busy woman.
I try to be.
Yes,
Try to be as busy as I can.
It's great to see as well. And with like all these movies dropping right now, so your name's kind of popping off everywhere. And how does that feel? Is that an exciting time for you?
Oh, it's exciting. Is an understatement. You know, this industry is not an easy one, so it's one you have to really throw yourself into and put your all into it. So, you know, to just be a working actor is such a reward, and the feeling is very great.
Awesome. We're going to get into that in a little second. We'll talk about Escape in a little bit, but I have a sort of like an icebreaker question to sort of get us into this and let us know a little bit more about yourself and I guess your movie tastes. What can you tell us, if you can remember, what was the first movie that you remember seeing up on the big screen? And was this sort of a gateway for you into that's what I want to do? I want to be up there.
The first movie I can remember seeing on big screen, like in the cinema, well, the first one that comes to my mind, it has to be Jurassic Park, the first one.
Nice.
And I just remember it being so epic. Like, Spielberg is amazing, isn't he? And,
Oh yeah.
you know, Jurassic Park is like so nostalgic for me, going to the cinema to see that in Leicester Square with my parents and my brother. So I have like such lovely, wonderful memories. Even though my mum was frightened, she was not one for anything, even like the tiniest bit of scare. She didn't like it. And I remember her picking me up and putting me on her lap so she could use me as a sort of shield to not really look fully at the screen. But I just remember the epicness of that film and the music. And, you know, I have the music from that film on my playlist on Spotify.
Amazing.
And still gives me chills when I hear it.
And is that the sort of thing that got you into wanting to be an actress, or did you find a different way into being an actress and into the film world?
I think it did bring the magic into my life. In that film and many other movies growing up. But I sort of got into acting quite naturally, just from doing drama at school. You know, you always have to do every single subject, don't you? And it's really a time for you to see, I guess, as a child, what you actually enjoy and what you're good at and what you're not good at. So drama at school for me was really where I did come alive. Because I can be a little bit shy, but this other side of me came out, and I just came to life in drama. But I started out as a dancer, and I just quite naturally transitioned into acting, because sometimes it does go hand in hand, you know.
Yeah.
And I remember I got my first feature film job, which was this comedy called Pulp. And
Right.
I just had the most amazing time on this film set, filming it in Birmingham. I think it was at the Think Tank Centre. And it was just epic. We actually filmed at a real live Comic Con as well.
Oh,
so,
nice.
Some of that is real, where everyone dresses up as the movie characters. And and all of that. And that was my first Comic-Con convention that I'd ever been to. So it was all like quite new and whoa, like, what is going on? But yeah, I just caught the bug for it really from that film, Pulp. And I just knew that it was something I needed to pursue because it just gave me some sort of fire in my soul, you know, gave me life.
And that was, I like that, gave me life. I like that a lot. And that was sort of like your first feature, but was there anybody that was kind of instrumental in helping you get your start, or anybody you could lean on to for a bit of advice?
Do you know what? Not really. It all came from just within. I was, you know, people tried to, you know, your parents, they have your best interest at heart. And, you know, I was sort of getting told, you know, you need to maybe go down a different route, find a proper job. You know, all of the same old talk that people in this creative industry must hear at one point or another when they're younger or at some point. But I just knew inside if I was going to pursue this, that was the time to do it after school, go into college. And I just thought, well, no, I'm going to go for it. I'm young and I'm going to do it. Because if I said to myself, if worst comes to worst, I can do a course in something else after.
Yeah.
That's sort of really the mentality that I had as, you know, a teenager, just to go for it.
I like that.
Stuck around.
And you have, and you've been prolifically working through the years, and it's brilliant. And a lot of the films that pop up on your IMDb are movies that I've seen, and I'm like, yeah, this chick's been working a lot, and it's great to see. And now we have 3 really cool movies on the go. Quickly before we jump into Escape, which I've known Mark Zammett for a good long while now, and Craig Hind, so it was great to see you in Witch as well, a movie I thoroughly enjoyed. What was it about the role of Twyla that really kind of grabbed you and made you want to make it? Because although it's quite typical of some of the stuff you have done, it's also very different.
Mm-hmm. Well, yes, I've never done anything period. So for a starter, that was something that drew me to that movie. You know, getting to go on this medieval set for one in Hungary was just, it was mind-blowing. It was so epic. You know, I remember arriving there for the first day, looking around thinking, oh my gosh, I'm going to spend the next 2 weeks here. This is just so cool. Like, and you get that overwhelming feeling, and like, I don't know, it just feels like magic.
Yeah.
And I just thought, this is just insane. And it was an amazing journey. I thoroughly enjoyed being on that set of Witch. You know, Mark and Craig are great to work with.
Yeah.
So I didn't just get one director, I got 2, and 2 completely different directors.
Yeah.
So it's brilliant.
This was one of those things, like dueling directors is not a new thing. It's happening quite a lot and more often right now, it seems to be. But like, I know Mark and I know Craig, and they're both very, very different. And I was kind of like, how's this going to work with these 2 guys? Like, but it works on screen. And what was your experience like with the 2 guys?
Oh, and it does really work. It completely works, because like you say, they are so different. They just had scenes that they were dedicated to direct each.
Okay.
But also, like, they did contribute. If they, I feel like if they had something to say on the other person's scene they were directing, they would give that contribution. And they just worked really well off of each other. And, you know, because they were both so different, it was like quite a cool dynamic to have different approaches from them on, like, you know, direction and feedback.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed that, because it was never just the same line the whole way through the movie, with direction from the directors and how they would set up the scene and, you know, talk through your character's journey in that current scene. It was just different every time. Yeah. So I feel like it kept you on your toes, and it made you like more present and aware in that moment, because you didn't know what you were going to get, really.
Yeah. Nice,
I
man.
liked it.
Good. I'm glad you did. I really like both those guys, and as I say, I thought Witch was a great little movie. Very the last half an hour took me by surprise, to be honest. No spoilers, but I really didn't think we were going there. So when we did, it was it was a welcome pace for me.
Nice.
But from one intense shoot and one tricky shoot, you moved on to Escape with Mr. Howard J. Ford. I believe this is the first time you've worked with Howard. Is that right?
Yeah. Escape was the first movie with the adventure man Howard.
Oh,
It was epic.
he's some guy. He's some guy. About your millionth movie with Sean Cronin, though.
Oh well, actually, people think this, right? But I met him on Kilcane with
Yeah.
Vinnie Jones. I think it was 2015. So that was
Right.
the first time we worked together. And then I hadn't worked with him for years and years and years. And then we end up in Escape together.
Mhm.
So, yeah, many years in between. So, and then I had a cameo in his film Bogeyville too.
Yes. And so, what was it like working with Howard? Because the man, for the money that he has to make these movies, pulls off some incredible things. I've been a fan of the man for a good few years now. So, what was it like for you coming into it, and why was Escape and Carla the perfect character for you?
It's just an absolute dream to work with Howard. It's just, I've never worked with anyone like him. And he's just full of adventure and life on set.
Mhm.
And there's never a down moment when you're on set. He's just always ready to go. He gives it absolutely everything. So that energy rubs off on the entire cast and crew. And you want to match that. You want to give it your everything, just like he does, because his passion just oozes through us all. And it's catching, and it's such a good thing to have. So I just think he's just such a joy to be around on set. And he also, he gives you this freedom as an
Mhm.
actor, and he really trusts. And obviously, if there's things that he thinks, oh, you could try this and you could try that, he always gives you that direction in such a good way and explains it very clearly that you can understand. You're not left feeling like, oh gosh, I'm a bit confused. What do they want? He's just a joy. He's a magical human being. I love working with Howard. It's epic.
And when you first got a hold of the script, if there was a first reading of the script, I know Howard likes to just get people in and get going. But when you first got a hold of it, what was it about Carla, and who was Carla to you? Not necessarily like when you read her on the page, who was she?
Well, the first time I actually heard about Carla, I went to a lunch with a few people, including Howard. And I'd done some promo filming with Howard for Escape out in Cannes when the film festival was taking place. And he asked a bunch of people, could you come along, 5 minutes of your time to do some filming? It's just for a bit of promo for my next film, Escape. Obviously, I said yes. I'd only just met Howard, I think, 2 days before, but I was thrilled to be asked to come and do some filming, and I'd actually heard a lot about Howard prior to this. So for me, I was ecstatic. So I did that filming, and it was great. And then met up with Howard and a few others for lunch, and he was talking to me about Escape and how that he had a vision in mind for this role of Carla, but he'd changed it. He changed it meeting me and me doing that little 5 minutes of filming in Cannes.
Wow.
And he was saying, I now envision this character as a nurse. Before, I think the character may have been ex-army, I think she was.
Right.
But he said, now I can see you playing it and her being a nurse, and she's got this background, and I won't say a spoiler here, but she's got a past with some family that's lingering there, and some, she holds herself guilty, doesn't she, for certain things. And and also when he's telling you these things, he just says it with such enthusiasm and really paints the picture for you. So I could just envision this instantly.
Yeah.
And I just felt like, yeah, I mean, is he going to offer me this? Like, is he telling me this, just telling me about the film, or is he offering me the role? And then eventually he said, like, and, you know, I would like you to play it. And would you like to come out in 3 days to the Canary Islands to do a little bit of filming? And I was like, hell yeah, I'm game. I'm in. You know, there was no qualms. I was instantly in with Howard. And I didn't have to think about it twice at all. I knew it was a 100% yes for me. So Howard drew me in. He drew me in with his storytelling and creating that character for me over that lunch, actually.
So now that you're drawn in and he's got you hooked, and he's written changed this role specifically for you to play, kind of thing, which is a huge compliment, to be honest. Now that you're in there, it's a very intense running and gunning kind of movie, very action driven, very thriller driven, something that you've done bits of but not a lot of. What kind of prep did you have to put in for this? Because it's intense.
Oh yeah, it's so intense, isn't it? I'm running in hills the entire film, through rocky terrain, on sand dunes. It was epic, and I think only one shot where you didn't see my feet, I had my flip-flops on. But the rest of the film, I had those wedges on the entire time. And that was a challenge, but come on, like, there's not much of a challenge, is it? You know, you just take it and you do it. And the fight choreography, that's always a challenge, because you want to make sure that it's believable. And we had Glenn Salvage, who's also in the film. He did all the fight choreography, and he is just such a wonderful man to work with. So he made it feel really like easy. And he just made it a breeze for me. So I felt very comfortable doing all the fight choreography. While it was a challenge, I enjoyed it. The challenge was great. And really, I think, like, there wasn't really much prep for those challenges. You just throw yourself into it, and you just want to do well, especially for someone like Howard, who is giving it his all too. You just make sure you're just going to give it your everything, and you're going to make it work. No matter how you do it, you will make it work for him.
Mm-hmm. And another thing is that he, for the money that he has, he loves practical. And there's a couple of extremely gnarly practical shots in this movie. No spoilers, obviously, but Mr. Eye Patch, how much fun was that to shoot?
It was so good, that scene. I remember that day so clear. We were in the middle of the sand dunes. Lovely, beautiful, hot day. And I remember sitting with Chelsea, the makeup artist, and I was giving her a hand making a particular prosthetic, you know, for that scene.
Yeah.
The stick, I'll say. So, yeah, I remember helping her. I always like to help in any department where I can. And I said, I can help you do that while you're doing this, you know. So it's gluing like little pieces of twig to the foam, you know, like prop to make it look like a real stick. But that was so good. That was because he had an eye patch, and then obviously you know what happens to the other eye. So in that scene, he's literally like cannot see what he's doing as Glenn. So it's all quite authentic, and it was such a laugh. I remember they had to because we lost the light very, very quick, and because we were in between these big sand dunes. But, you know, Howard's, you know, quick solution, let's just get Glenn on top of this sand dune. It was all flat. It was all very, very safe. Yeah. And then we can quickly just shoot that one bit, you know, like how you're saying he's very resourceful with the money that he has. So that was literally like a quick solution. Get him up on the top of the sand dune. Sun is still there. But because he had the prosthetic on, and then the other thing, some of the people had to just push him up this sand dune because he couldn't see where he was going to get him to the top, just to get that that shot of him You know, that epic shot. I love
That's
it.
brilliant.
Love that
That's
shot of her.
brilliant. The question is though, would you trade that moment for the shears? Again, no spoilers, but the shears scene later on, or are you perfectly happy with yours?
Oh, I'm perfectly happy. Yeah, absolutely. And I think Sophie does that scene so well as Lucy.
Yeah, she does.
I really couldn't envision it in any other way. I think she was just so spot on and perfect with that particular scene. Like, yeah, she did that justice. She
I
was
think
great.
as well with Sophie's backstory in the movie, like she earns that moment.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that is her like getting them back, you know.
So there is a low key kind of message in this movie if you're willing to just instead of just being entertained by a rollicking good revenge kind of tale, there's another kind of low key thing that goes on, like message in the background. What do you hope people take away from this movie, apart from the obvious fun and excitement?
Yeah, because clearly I want them to enjoy themselves. And I
Yeah,
do think they'll be taken on a roller coaster ride, like of highs and
yeah,
lows. And there really is no time to breathe. So, you know, it will feel like you've just been watching for about half an hour. For me, I've seen it so many times, it never feels long. You know, it feels like, what? We're at the end already? You know, so yes,
yeah,
they will have a lot of fun watching it. But also, I do think there is a message there as well, which is really important for young girls, is
yeah,
to be aware and vigilant and be safe when you go away, because it's quite scary, these things that can happen, can be real. So I do think it can, you know, send a good message to young girls to just be a little bit more aware and safe when you are going away with a group of girls or by yourself. You know, just think, use your
yeah.
brain.
Yeah, no, definitely, definitely, and on that, a message for young girls and someone who could be an inspiration to young girls as well in the movies that you're making and the movies that you're in. You've directed your own short, Snowdrop. Where did that come from, and was that a natural? You just wanted to make it?
Well, I really enjoy writing. So
Yeah,
I've been writing, I think, for about 6 years, little short stories, and never did anything with them. So maybe sent them to a few people here and there. But yeah, I just never did anything. And really, the time came about, and I said, I think it's now that I should make this. And Snowdrop is actually a story close to my heart,
hmm,
based around my mum and something we went through when she wasn't well before she passed away. And I just thought, I really want to make this. You know, I've written it. There is a twist on it that it goes sci-fi, but I just, yeah, for me it's just about keeping the creativity and putting the work in, to not just sit around and wait for someone to call me up and offer me a role. If I can write something and I can pull in, you know, friends for favors. I was very, very blessed. I had, you know, the help of Louis James and Blake Ridder, you
yeah,
know, absolute machines, and what a great team them two are together. And yeah, Blake shot it all for me. Louis produced, and was teaching me on the sideline how to co-produce and how to really build something from the ground up, and how to really do that on a low budget. Because sometimes, like, excuses from people are like, well, I don't have the money and I need this
yeah,
crazy amount. And really, he taught me, you don't need this money. It's actually an excuse to not just do
mhm,
things, because really you can pull your friends together and you can pick up your phone and you can go and shoot a movie,
yeah.
and you can edit it on your phone as well. So yeah, it was really just a challenge to see if I could do it, and to see how my writing would be received on the other end, like as a finished product. And I thoroughly enjoyed it, and it was really nice to do something that was close to my heart, and it is definitely something I will continue. I do have a couple of things in the pipeline, producing wise, but also starring in. And I just think it's good to be proactive in this industry, to make things happen for yourself. You know, I think it's important.
And what cap would you say you prefer to wear in terms of acting, directing, producing? Is there anything that just edges it that little bit more?
Acting is my first love, you know. I will always love acting. It's just where, like I said to you at the beginning, I come to life. But I also really enjoy watching other people do that and come to life in front of the camera, and just really like engaging and watching them and seeing how they bring their character to life, because you can always continue to learn. And what better way to do it than watch someone and you be behind the camera and see them do it, and see them do it their way and how they connect with the camera. So acting always, but I also really want to get stuck in on the other side of the camera way more.
Awesome. And another Howard J. Ford project that you worked on and is coming out soon and stars a good friend of mine as well, Joseph Milsom, River of Blood. Tell me about River... Well, I'm assuming you can't tell me much, but what is River of Blood? Because this trailer is gnarly.
It's an action-adventure film, sprinkled with some horror, set in a jungle. I mean, it's absolutely epic. Everything you see is real. Nothing is green screen whatsoever. So you are in for such a treat. And so many challenges came from that film, you know, filming for real in kayaks, in the water, you know, in rivers. So it's just absolutely epic for an indie film to tackle that and take that on and actually go to the jungle and shoot that. So, you know, it deserves, you know, so much credit, because it is unreal and it looks so good, that film. Park, the DOP on that, did such a fantastic job. And Howard always directing, he gave us some challenges, you know, and we all took to those challenges, and we couldn't wait to bring those challenges to life, you know. And everyone did well, all the crew, all the cast, everyone worked so hard. So I think you are in for a treat.
That's so cool. Like I watched the trailer and I was like, "Holy crap! He's been given about 50 odd million to make this," because it looks amazing. So I'm going to start wrapping things up a little bit, but I believe it is the 30th of September. We've got Escape hitting digital and everything like that, and people will be able to get to see the movie. I hope everyone checks it out. It's fantastic, and Sarah, you are excellent in it. Your character, Carla, really takes us on a journey throughout the movie, and there is that message in the background if you want to take to it, which I really enjoyed as well, because it's something that I can watch with my kids and I can be entertained and they can get some act right. But one question that I like to ask before I wrap out, and it's a little bit of a full circle kind of thing for this interview. What was the last movie that you watched up on the big screen, and how has your viewing pleasures changed, or the way you watch movies on the big screen? How's that changed now that you're in the industry?
The last movie I watched was actually Apocalypto, directed by Mel Gibson. And
what a film.
Oh my God, it's such a good movie.
Yeah.
The violence in it was a bit much for me to take. And I did have to like close one eye, you know, some points, but yeah, it's so powerful, that movie. And the performances in that movie, my gosh. Oh, it just really got to me and gave me chills.
Mm-hmm.
Just if for anyone watching this who have not seen Apocalypto, please watch it. Mel Gibson is just magical, like directing this movie. Oh, it's unbelievable. What a different film. I think everyone should at least watch that movie at least once in their life. I think it's brilliant.
So would you like to work with Mel in the future?
Oh my gosh, I would love to work with Mel Gibson. Such a talented actor, isn't he? And
yes,
director.
He doesn't get nearly the credit he deserves.
He really doesn't. And I actually watched a behind-the-scenes documentary on him making Apocalypto.
Oh,
and there
nice.
was one scene, and it was a scene at the beginning in the evening, you know, when they're around the campfire and they're all joking and telling stories. And then they start dancing. it was that scene and so many actors around this big area, and you see Mel Gibson just running around to each group saying, now you laugh, or now you dance, and now you do this, and you just see it like right before you coming to life here and here and here, and it's just I don't know, it just really spoke to my heart, and you can just see the passion that he actually had for making that movie, and it's just contagious. It's just such a lovely thing to see and to witness.
Well, one of the reasons that I asked that question, and really your answer is absolutely fantastic, by the way, but one of the reasons that I ask it is it's sort of like when you're younger, it's the magic of cinema that we see up on the screen, and sort of most directors will tell you now that it's kind of the science when they're watching these movies. They can't really take themselves completely out of it, but it feels to me like you still very much have the magic inside you when it comes to watching these movies, and don't lose that. It's fantastic, and it's something I think that you and Howard very much seem to share. So I look forward to seeing what you do next. On that, though, before we wrap out, do me a favour and let people know where they can find Sarah, the movies they've got coming out, and, you know, why they should check out Escape.
You can follow me on Instagram. It's Sarah A. Marks. I post everything acting on there, so you'll be able to see how you can purchase Escape. You can pre-order the movie right now. And there's also a competition that Howard is running. Actually.
I saw this.
Yeah, it's quite epic. You can win a prop from the movie. That's pretty cool, right? So if you pre-order it now and send a selfie of you with the pre-order, send it to Howard, send it to myself, send it to Sophie or Louis, anyone, you know, and we'll share it, and you automatically get entered in to win these props. I think there's more than one going, so you have a good chance.
That's cool.
And then it'll be out on the 30th of September for you to watch.
I want the stick.
You want the stick?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know a few people that I know where I would put that stick.
Okay, I like it.
Sarah, this has been absolutely fantastic. Please, people, September the 30th, check out Escape when it hits the ether, the internet, where everywhere you're going to be able to see it. Digital download, absolutely do that, because you could win a wrench or some shears, or I don't know, he's got loads of stuff that he's the eye thing. I think it's really cool that he's doing that, to be honest. You don't see that often. So Sarah, thank you so much for doing this. It's been an absolute pleasure, and I've looked forward to talking to you about this movie and other projects. So this is brilliant.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.